This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. I'm so glad you're joining us today, and I'm super duper excited about our show today. We've got a wonderful person that you know of, and has this huge heart for the animals. And of course, she's got this new and exciting book out called Pup Culture: Stories, Tips, Importance of Adopting a Dog. And of course, we're talking about Victoria Lily Shaffer coming on the show. So we're super duper excited to talk to Victoria a little bit about the book, what's going on in her life. Of course, got to talk a little bit about celebrityism and all the things she knows from her background. And more importantly, I want to talk to her about the book itself. How was it putting it together, the ins and outs of writing a book, putting all these great ideas and stories into one concise and beautiful book. So we're going to have a fun show today. Everybody hang tight. We'll come back after this commercial break. You're listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio.
How many of you have pets? My hand's raised. Now think about how lucky you are to have such a sweet little pet in your life, and that pet is lucky to have you too. But unfortunately, there are countless pets out there that don't have a home to call their own. However, Bob's from Skechers is trying to change that. So we developed Bob's for dogs and cats to help pets in need. With every purchase of adorable Bob's footwear or fun, stylish apparel, or even the cutest Bob's pet accessories, Skechers makes a donation to Petco Love to help save shelter pets. And with your help, we've already saved the lives of over 1 million pets and raised over $7 million. So while you're getting style and comfort with features like Skechers' famous memory foam cushioning, you're also helping to save an adorable pet in need and helping another lucky owner be connected with a future best friend and companion, because happiness is having a loving pet by your side. Find Bob's at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, select Petco locations, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Without further ado, we're going to talk to animal activist, rescuer, celebrity to the stars, and author Victoria Lily Shaffer. Victoria, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. That was a very nice introduction.
There you go. Well, it's a nice introduction for a wonderful person, so we appreciate you coming on board.
You.
So we've got to talk a little bit about the book, of course. It's the latest, greatest, called Pup Culture: Stories and Tips, The Importance of Adopting a Dog.
Yes.
And first off, I'll tell the audience a little bit about it, because hopefully they've already gotten a copy of the book. If not, you need to put this recording on pause, go get your copy of the book, and then come back and listen to it.
You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Most places you can get a book, you can get this one.
There you go. So everybody's going to pick up a copy of that. But I just love the whole format of it, because it's a nice size book. It's hardback. It's got all these beautiful, beautiful photos of you and your work and the animals and all the stuff that's going on. It's just wonderfully put together. So big kudos to you and your editors and everything putting together just such a wonderful book.
Thank you. Yes, I have to give some credit to the editors and everyone at Simon & Schuster for making it look so beautiful. I was approached to write the book. I was given the opportunity to write the book, and I couldn't believe that I could potentially, write 230 pages and fill all of those pages, but it actually ended up coming rather easily. And I would just, write and write and write. And then I had a great editor who would tell me, you rambled in this part, do you have photos to support this part? We could, you need to explain this part more. So it was good to have a second set of eyes, because I'm used to talking to rescue people and dog lovers all day long who maybe know what I'm talking about, but the book is for all sorts of people. So I try to, make it personable and add all the extra info you need in there.
Yeah, and you did a wonderful job of it. I mean, when I looked at the book, I thought, okay, pup culture, and obviously we know your background and your growing up in sort of the celebrity world, whether that whole thing. But I thought, okay, we're going to talk about pop culture, and it's a nice little spin on it. But this is more than that. Tell us a little bit about some of the inside parts of the book.
So the book, how I came up with it is that I really wanted to be able to celebrate dog ownership, not just rescue, although that is extremely important to me and is all over the book, but just how much owning a dog, don't even really like to use the word owning, but having a dog in your family can really enhance your life and everything that it has brought me. I have this wonderful group of friends and a great community behind me that I've met through working in rescue, through going to the dog park. My adopters have become friends of mine. So I talk a lot about that. I talk about being 19, attending the new school for college, working in production, these crazy long hours. And yet I have 2 dogs, Rue and Echo at the time. They were both puppies. Echo just turned 9 a couple weeks ago. Rue's almost 10. It's so crazy. And I talk a lot about that and, making things in my home that could save me money. So, I am a college student at that time. So I talk about money saving tips. I also talk about traveling. Now I live in Los Angeles, but my family's still in New York. So I'm actually here in New York now doing publicity and visiting with family for the holidays. And we drove across the country for the 3rd time. So I do talk about travel tips and what I've picked up along the way. And most importantly, just, that even if I give you advice as a dog owner, and, I learned a lot being on Pet Life Radio myself, ultimately, whatever works for you as a dog owner and for your dog is the right thing to do. And people need to stop judging other people and giving them advice if they're not in the position to give advice, that sort of thing, because we're all doing it differently and it's all working out. And, these dogs in rescue, they would be in much worse shape if we didn't step up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very, very good point because, I'm a former president of a humane society and I work with rescues around the world. And, each one has their own unique way of doing it, which I understand and appreciate. Yep. And the foster programs are so crucial, especially at this time of year. We need as many as we can.
Oh, my goodness.
But yes. there's no right or wrong part to this. The whole goal is to take care of the dogs and all animals, and find them the right and perfect forever homes. And however we need to do that is how we should go about doing it.
Exactly. I think, when people adopt their first dog, they're always so worried. Are they going to mess up? Am I doing this crate training thing right? And I always just remind them, as long as you give this dog a lot of love and you're consistent and your heart is in the right place, you can do no wrong. This puppy or dog started on the streets or in the shelter. This is a huge step up. So we're all very hard on ourselves and we love our dogs so much that we want to do everything right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, one of the many things about your book, Pup Culture, that I like because it's an instructional book at times, but on other times it's just fun and entertaining. And you've got everything in the world in there. I mean, you've got obviously, all the great stories about the dogs and the adoption. You got little handy tips in there. You talk a little bit about fostering, as we mentioned. You got little checklists, got home recipes and little creative ideas and things. So, it's really, I look at it as a book that from the ground up, your children all the way up through the adults can enjoy and find a little bit. And it's not, like you said, beating somebody over the head about here's how you train a puppy or here's what you do. It's more of here's some helpful advice for someone who's been there. And by the way, we've got some fun stuff to go along with it. And we can get our message out in a more lighter way at times.
Exactly. Because it's fun. Adopting a dog and raising a puppy, it's fun. It's messy. It's exhausting. And the stories are just really have been fun to share. And, everyone's response has been just as fun. I had a similar experience, or I actually have a worse experience than you.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing. I've been doing this a long time as well. And I always find that when you find that one thing that somebody else has gone through that you didn't know, you tell your story about, oh, my dog did this or my cat did this or my horse or whatever it may be. And they're like, oh, my God, I thought I was the only one in the whole world that experienced that because mine did the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's really this great common denominator. And we're all in this, together to help the animals. And it still amazes me to this day that some people think they're on this lone boat by themselves when it's not. It's a wonderful community.
Yeah, it is. It's a great community. And I'm so grateful for everyone around me and my team at my rescue who put up with me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about how this all really got started. I mean, we talk about love affairs since we were children, but for me, I mean, I always loved animals since I was a kid. But we grew up in a very small and modest house, and couldn't have a lot of animals. And now it's developed into something that's much grander than I ever thought it was going to be. How did this all start for you, and how it like grown from the beginnings?
So for me, I wasn't, an animal lover from a super young age. I think it was going to school each day, going to friends' houses, and they all had dogs. And my parents didn't grow up with dogs. So, it wasn't something that they thought we needed. And I was about 12 years old. I just begged for a dog. And at that point, still, it's because, everyone else has a dog. Why don't we have a dog? And they're so cute. And we did have a couple times where we bought dogs from breeders and it didn't end up working out. We weren't experienced. I was just a kid, my parents' first dog ever, but we kept trying to find the right match. And I discovered petfinder.com on my very first computer. I would be up all night looking through that website. And I did a lot of research on what rescue was. At that time, it wasn't as known as it is now. Like it's almost a trendy topic right now, and especially during the pandemic, as people are home and they want companionship. It wasn't like that. I had never heard of rescue before. It's so simple. Of course, there are homeless dogs on the streets, and just didn't know, and nor did my parents. So I sort of had to educate all of us. And we adopted our first dog off of petfinder.com. And it was just a totally different experience. She was found in a dumpster. We had to do a lot of things by the books, but also a lot of think outside the box. She was quite hyper, but also shy, and she had a rough start. And we ended up loving her so much and loving what dogs added to our family that we got a second dog within that same year from North Shore Animal League. And we were kind of hooked from there, just how wonderful having a dog was in your family. And then really the obsession, I would say, started when I was 19. I was a sophomore in college, and I missed having a dog by my side when I wasn't living with my parents anymore. So I adopted a little dog named Rue. She's a Boston Terrier Chihuahua. As I said earlier, she's almost 10, which is so crazy. And she's been glued to my side ever since. But she was in really bad shape when I got her. They said she was shy. She was terrified of everything. Every little sound scared her. She hid under the bed. She wouldn't eat. And that's when I didn't do anything by the books because nothing worked. She still doesn't know sit to this day. She's very fragile, but I wouldn't trade her for the world. And I love her so much. But once she started to come around, I thought, maybe there's something to this. Like, it's such a rewarding experience seeing you turn a dog's life around that I started fostering after that. I adopted a second dog, kept fostering, and now here I am with 3 dogs and over 150 fosters later.
I love how that works out. It's so funny you mentioned that because, as I mentioned earlier, growing up, we didn't really have the space to have a lot of animals. We had one dog when I was growing up, Bandit, who lived a long, long life. My wife is sort of the Ellie Mae Clampett of the world. She's never met an animal she didn't like. And but she moved around a lot when she was a child, so she never had a whole lot of opportunities. But since we've been together for so long, we've had a plethora of animals, from dogs to cats to birds to turtles to fish. The list goes on and on. And going to rescue, I remember I still remember to this day, the very first time I popped into our local rescue or our local humane society. And we were there just for orientation day to see what we could do. Because we've been delivering stuff there and giving money there. We thought, well, is there something else we can put our skills to? At the time, my wife was in software and I was in sales at the time. And we thought, well, maybe there's some sort of commonality. And then it just developed from there. You donated your time, you took care of the dogs and the cats, and you foster some, and then you go there and provide exercise if it's at a facility. The next thing you know, you're hosting fundraisers and writing grants. And then the next thing you know, you're the president of the whole dang thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the common trend with everyone who gets far in deep into rescue is it just sort of happens naturally and very fluid. It's not forced. You have to really love it to do this because it's not easy, as you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It pulls at your heartstrings all the time, and
Exactly.
trying to do the best for them and feel like you mentioned earlier, feeling am I doing enough? Whether it's your own animal or whether it's one you're fostering or one that you're taking care of in a rescue, you're always wondering, are you doing enough? Is there more you could do? So you have to, you have to pace yourself, and you have to realize that whatever you do, as long as you're taking care of the animal and they're happy, then you're doing it the right way.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
There you go. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back right after this break, talk a little bit more with Victoria Lily Shaffer about her book, Pup Culture, talk a little bit about just a tidbit about how the industry, the entertainment industry has helped or maybe even hindered her success with animals. And then I want to talk about the overall message of the book. So everybody just hang tight. We'll come back right after this commercial break. You're listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, Stitcher, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. It's your host, Tim Link, and I'm continuing my wonderful, wonderful conversation with our good friend, Victoria Lily Shaffer, and her latest book, Pup Culture. Victoria, when everybody picks up a copy of the book, when you put it all together, was there a message, something, a main takeaway that you had when you were writing the book? And then when you got it finished, what do you hope people get from the book?
I think the thing I most wanted to communicate is that dogs are here to enhance our lives and not to hinder them. As we were talking about earlier, there's no right way, there's no wrong way to raising and owning and having a dog in your family. And as I was writing the book and all the support I got and people who contributed to the book, I just realized, everyone just loves their dogs so much through all their imperfections and quirks and, behavioral problems, allergies, etc. It just, dogs bring us together. And it has been such a magical, amazing and experience that I'll remember forever, just getting all the positive feedback from this book.
Well, you tell your heart went into it, and obviously you had the background and the knowledge, so you're going to get some great tips and great ideas and from the book as well. And like I mentioned before, I just love how it's all comes together, how it's put together. It's definitely one you want to put on the shelf and pull off the shelf multiple times.
Thank you.
Now, Victoria, we obviously, the background, I hedged on that a little bit because I know you're so much more than the sort of celebrity entertainment business. Yes.
Thank you so much. But yes, we should certainly talk about it.
I'm curious, my biggest thing, well, obviously, your dad, Paul Shaffer, the legendary multi-talented band leader, sidekick of David Letterman, or the one that tried to keep him in line. And this is my 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So you got your dad. Your dad worked with David Letterman. David Letterman went to Ball State University, and I graduated from Ball State University. So there you go. Almost 6 degrees there or something.
Very
so
cool.
Yeah, sort of something. But you've had a great, growing up in the entertainment industry, as well as doing your productions and all the work that you've done in that industry. The first question I've got is, how do you balance both of that? Because I know better, but from the outside looking in, people think, wow, you've got the entertainment industry and you're rescuing and fostering dogs. How do those worlds combine?
Yeah, weirdly they do. I didn't get the music bug from my dad quite I'm not a music prodigy by any means, but I do appreciate music. But entertainment, I just love the entertainment industry. I love making people happy. My experience started in production. That's what I did before rescue really took off. And, rescue still isn't my career, it's my passion. And I have been able to meld the two into one where I make videos about adoption and raising puppies. And I just think that in all, it's all about making people happy. And that's where I see the connection there. And I hope that, I'm able to maybe do a show and all sorts of things where I combine, my love for hosting and entertainment with my love for dogs, because everyone loves entertainment and everyone loves dogs.
I love the combination. When I look at it, I think, everything you learn from, the entertainment industry and producing all the great shows and everything, that I would have to assume assists greatly in your efforts with rescue and getting the message out there. If you weren't comfortable being able to put together a production or going to people and say, hey, I need your help on this, then I would hazard to say you wouldn't get as much accomplished as you do.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think from the production side, speaking with people, organizing things has come in handy when running a dog rescue. Even at our events, my dog rescue called Pup Culture Rescue, fittingly, is only been around for a couple of months, and we've started to do some events. And I have a wonderful team of women that I work with. But I've been in New York for a couple of months and we've been wanting to do another event. They're like, we have to wait for Victoria because she's the one who loves talking to all the people and, can just talk to anyone. The girls on my team are a little softer spoken than I am. But I think, it is really fun. I talk to new people every single day. I do home checks over FaceTime and help people find the perfect match. So definitely all those public speaking and acting classes I took in college, they sort of do pay off because I'm able to be comfortable talking to all sorts of people, no matter how happy or difficult the situation is. Not every situation in rescue is easy. And I talk to vets all day and shelters and rescuers, and I love it. So yeah. And then, yes, I'm able to use my passion of talking to people, interviewing, hosting, to spread the word about dog rescue as well. So it all paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing I think is wonderful from, dealing with clients that I have, as well as doing this show and all the wonderful shows on Pet Life Radio. We find out that, once again, animals, dogs, cats are the common denominator. And so, people, it could be a celebrity or a CEO of a corporation that we interview or whomever it may be, and come to find out, hey, I have a dog. You had a dog. Everybody's got a dog. And that's the same thing. You break it down to the very smallest amount, and the common denominator really is our love for animals.
Yes, that's how I got my first job as a producer, was because I was doing a phone interview for it and my dog started barking in the background. And he was like, do you have dogs? And I was like, yeah. And then my dog's an Australian Shepherd mix. He had an Aussie mix. And we just started to talk about dogs and really hit it off. And he was like, yeah, we should have lunch and talk about this production.
Love it.
So they really have paved the way for me in multiple directions of my life.
Well, I think that's a very important message. It doesn't matter where you come from, your background, what you do for a living, what you do in life. As long as you love a dog, as long as you love an animal, then you're going to be on the same level, same plane, same everything as everybody else.
Exactly. And I think it shows in the book with the celebrity contributions, David Letterman, Glenn Close, Vanessa Williams, Tony Bennett. So insane. Kelly Cuoco reviewed the book. Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, so busy right now. But when I approached these people, will you contribute to my book about dogs and dog rescue? They didn't even hesitate, because who doesn't want to talk about their dog?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny you mention it that way, because my book's the same way. People that I've gotten to know, authors and writers and people that have animals, were more than willing to write the intro and write the testimonials and all the little bits that go into it. And even people that I hadn't had a chance to meet, or at least to meet over the airwaves or over the phone, I took a shot at, and they're like, yeah, you have a dog, I have a dog. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
They're like, I don't necessarily want to speak about myself, but if I can speak about my dog, then sure.
That's it. I love that. Well, everybody pick up a copy of the book. It's called Pup Culture, Stories and Tips, The Importance of Adopting a Dog, Victoria Lily Shaffer. Victoria, it's so great to talk to you. I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Keep up the great work, and we'll look forward to chatting with you somewhere down the road.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Well, we're coming to the end of the show today. I want to thank everyone for listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. I want to thank the producers and sponsors for making this show possible. If you have any comments, ideas, or just people you want to see on the show, drop us a line at PetLifeRadio.com. We'll be glad to answer your questions, entertain your comments, and bring on the people we want to hear from most. While you're there, check out all the other wonderful shows and hosts that we have at PetLifeRadio.com. It's a cornucopia of great entertainment, so you're going to enjoy it all. So until next time, write a great story about the animals in your life, put it in a book, a blog, or an article, and who knows, you may be the next guest on Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have a great day.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.